All right. Yes, very good evening from India. Welcome, I would say, to yet another exciting session on our prestigious platform, GIBS IRE Talks, powered by GIBS Business School. For those who are watching us from different parts of the world, a quick note here. We are a eminent business school operating in Bengaluru, the capital city of Karnataka, in India, and we are operational since 11 years now. We are running multiple programs with us, a Bachelor of Business Administration, postgraduate diploma in business management, the UG and the PG. GIBS strength has always been its diversity. We have students from all parts of India. That's the most, I would say, the pleasing thing, the diversity at its very, very best. And yes, at some point of time, as a business school, we thought it's our moral responsibility to nurture tomorrow's leader and to, I would say, nurture the budding entrepreneurs. And considering India's economy in the last one decade, I think it's a perfectly made right now for the entrepreneurs. And without hesitation, we started this program. It now has been a flagship program of GIBS, Innovation, Research, and Entrepreneurship, which we call it as IRE, has been a game changer at the GIBS Business School, for sure. And I'm so very happy to inform you all that we have nurtured many successful entrepreneurs who have set up their businesses and doing great. I think this is the most happiest thing for a teachers to look at their students performing so very well in different ventures of the world. So IRE, we have initiated a lot of programs. We do physical sessions, workshops, conferences, award ceremonies, and off late we have started this online, sessions wherein I have approached numerous experts from all parts of the globe, right? And today I have two stalwarts with me, my good friend Ms. Vikki and also Mr. Pappie, from both hailing from South Africa. I would say who have come up with some amazing leadership skills with them. And without hesitation, I connected with them and I requested for this virtual session to begin with, because I'm more excited, in fact, to host them in person in my campus in Bengaluru, which is also going to happen very, very soon. Yes, Vicky, I'm telling this in the public platform. So we'll be hosting you very, very soon here in the campus.
We
And
look forward to
students and
it.
faculties and management would definitely be excited to look into it. All right, so audience, today we have crafted this session beautifully, and we have titled this so amazingly: Innovate, Inspire, and Influence, the three pillars of entrepreneurial leadership. And look who we have. We have somebody who has practiced this day in and day out. On behalf of all my students, faculties, and the audiences who have joined, I take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Vikki and Mr. Pappie Mokoena on this beautiful platform of IRE, where the next 45-50 minutes of interaction going to be stupendous. Lots and lots of takeaways for my students. So, heartiest welcome. So let me begin with Mr. Pappie. You've been a great leader who has seen, I would say, the growth, the development from the scratch, and your leadership skill has just been amazing. Before I get into that leadership skill, can I have a bit of understanding from your side? What made you to become a global figure there in South Africa? I mean, what is that you carrying with you yourself and to reach what you have reached today?
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Guru, and greetings to the audience out there and my co-panelist, Vikki. Hearty greetings. Well, my point of departure is that, and which Vikki is very strong on, is the issue relating to where you define purpose for yourself. And you begin to look at how you can impact society and you can have a meaningful life. So the first part is about meaning for yourself, meaning for purpose, and the intention to be able to can create impact that goes beyond your own self and your immediate family. So, and for me, as a young activist who was on the side of what is right in fighting apartheid, you became part of this champion of what is the correct thing, socioeconomic justice. And as a result, that has permeated my life throughout from a young age until I was involved in public service. But more than anything else, it has been this ability to want to find solutions for life's biggest problems. And that's why even in terms of my self-development, I've traversed through being on all sides of the table, from a public servant, from a private sector involvement, from a social activist. And as a result, even my studies have kind of walked through from medicine, pharmacy, to business school in entrepreneurship. And now in terms of technology and its ability to be able to can assist all of us in having the kind of impact that we all aspire for. So that has been the kind of journey. And I did not set out to be a global figure, a national figure, but it looks like purpose and the intended impact is the one that places you in some of these places as a result. So I don't know whether that's part of it. And my fascination and my orientation towards entrepreneurship and how it also helped me in terms of public service is that I've always realized that entrepreneurship is the discipline of creating and turning possibility into reality. And to that extent, that's why you have to look at innovative solution. You have to inspire the people that you work with, your teams, and you have to make sure that the impact is far-reaching and scalable. And that is why, from my side, it has always been the issue around what are the bigger problems, what is the wicked problems that all of us want to solve, and how can we find creative, pragmatic solutions to them, and how can we mobilize society to co-own the solutions. But more than anything else, how can this impact and create a bigger global order that is just, fair, and transparent and accountable? That has been the theme of the G20 around here too, for that matter. Thank you very much, Prof. That's my
great.
initial
I mean,
comment.
incredible journey. No doubt about it. And you're being a role model for many. And let me tell all my audiences, it was probably Mr. Pappie who was a mentor for Vikki, and for all the reasons for Vikki has reached today. I'm so very happy for that. Vikki, having understood you, having known you since last couple of months, I'm telling you, you are in a mission. You are in a mission in South Africa. I'm sure. I know about it. I want you to tell the audiences what is that mission you are in South Africa. I mean, hats off to your dedication and your
Thank
agenda
you.
that you're there. We're all there for the support, but I want to hear from you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Guru. Namaste, namaskaram to everyone that has joined us. So just a little background on me. I am, like you, of Indian origin. My forefathers came to South Africa in 1860. 1860. So I'm fourth generation South African Indian. And so I carry the heritage of two beautiful countries, South Africa and India. And I'm sorry that we beat you in cricket, and we're going to beat you again. So
We are not talking about that.
So just in terms of who I am and where I am, I was 12 years old when Nelson Mandela, who we affectionately call Madiba, was released from prison. And there was something inside me, as this 12-year-old kid sitting on the lounge floor of my grandmother's house in a sugarcane plantation, and I saw this statuesque, beautiful man emerge. And previously, prior to that, he was banned. The organizations were banned and all of that. And I looked at him and I said, there's something special about him, and this is the person that I want to look up to or sort of emulate in a lot of ways. And when he started speaking, and what he rolled out over the years showed true courage and leadership. And leadership is about taking the good from the bad. And that is exactly what Nelson Mandela did. And when I linked up with Ntate Pappie, he embodies the same philosophies and the same principles. And it's all about Pappie Mokoena is, we always say halala because he's just one of the most amazing people in terms of leadership in his constituency, in his province. And I looked up to him because I thought, well, this is a man that I want to learn much more from. Madiba is no longer here. And for me, Ntate Pappie has replaced him as a model figure. And that leadership for me has taken me through leaps and bounds to different countries. And I lived in Ireland, as you know, for a little while. But while I was there, I realized my leadership skills or my service to humanity has to be here in my own country. Although it's global, and now we liaising and having dialogues with all of you, but it's here in South Africa. And we are a democracy of 31 years. So it may seem a long time, but it actually isn't, given the benchmark. And I want to develop youth and women in our country. And I feel they are the marginalized sector of society. I come from a labor law, HR, training, and recruitment background. And I thought I was perfectly placed in terms of understanding human dynamics to be in this position to create leadership programs and start leading with compassion and heart. For me, leadership is leading with compassion and heart, is understanding where we are going to. So you have to know where you come from to know where you're going. And for me, that is what I wanted to re-engineer the thinking of the individuals in my country. So that's my journey.
Fantastic, incredible. I wish all the success, and I really want you to achieve every bit of objectives that you have framed for this cause. I'm sure you will, with support from people like Mr. Pappie. Definitely, it will. Mr.
Thank you so
Pappie,
much.
you have played leadership roles in whether it's governance, whether it is community building or community development. You're an entrepreneur as well. Do you see a difference between an entrepreneurial leader and a political leader? How do you look at it?
Yeah, thank you, Prof. I think my point of departure is that in as much as entrepreneurship from a study area and how we have been trying to understand it, it's pretty nascent in the fact that we have got the hang of it in recent times. However, when you look at whether private, social, or otherwise public sector, the issue relating to the key challenges that are facing all of us, the need for finding solutions for bigger problems, the need of fiscal constraints and lack of resources for us to be able to find solutions means that we have got to be fairly very innovative around how we look at solutions and how we fund solutions and how we sustain those solutions. And it is that part that I think modern city, the current complexities that are there in terms of city developments, the migration of people, the safety and safety issues relating to communities, ability of housing, the issues relating to social inclusion, all of these things warrant solutions. And I find that in terms of entrepreneurship, the ability to be able to can think out on ways of solutions and be able to can achieve more with scarce resources, all kinds of ties in with a key skill that I believe should be core to any modern leader. So the artificial, to me, because of complexity, geopolitical issues, you have seen how cities have suffered under different conditions. And South Africa in particular, we face in this challenge that post-democratic dispensation, we have had to find a way in which there is greater inclusivity. We have had to find a way in which scarce resources can assist us to be able to can have equity in terms of how we incorporated the previously marginalized, underdeveloped areas. The issues relating to employment creation, economic stimulation, all of these things need a mindset that is visionary and strategic in outlook. It warrants all of us to be able to can have a way in which we understand that leadership is not even about just authority, but it is about leading purpose and being able to mobilize others behind this purpose. That is why the inspiration that you need to be there. But again, as a leader, you know you have got to influence different stakeholders for them to be able to can believe in your story, to be able to can be incorporated into your journey. And as a result, all of these things, to me, makes me to think that the entrepreneurial orientation or the entrepreneurial attributes modern city leadership requires to be attuned to that, so that they can lead with heart and not just hate, so that they can begin to understand that it's not just about political might or order or authority. It is about mobilizing others to believe in whatever it is that you're saying. It is for them to be able to can come in and say, we are part of this. So that sense of ownership, that mobilization across sectors, is fairly important. So to that extent, I say to the new young business aspirants, public service is a good place to also be. Social enterprises is a good place for providing services that are affordable, equitable. And as a result, Prof, I'm saying there is, to me, a very narrow difference between political leadership and entrepreneurship.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
just about where you place it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic points. Vikki, you have been trained and I would say mentored is the right word, mentored by Mr. Pappie. And, there is a generation difference of both of you. What is your leadership style compared to the leadership style of Mr. Pappie?
Funnily enough, even though there's a generational gap, we actually share the same leadership style. And with us, it's leading with purpose, servant leadership, leading with heart and compassion. And, we like to look at everything new, it's shiny and new. Us connecting now is new technology, So the youth are coming through a very AI technology driven ages. So we seem to think everything needs to be online and we have to lead via these platforms. But old school is still better, right? And understanding people, understanding their values, understanding who they are, where they come from, where they want to go. We are just there to carry the torch forward and push them forward. And Tata Pappie and I share the same values in that. And we lead in the very same way. And it's been evident in the programs that we've run in Pappie's constituency in Mangaung in the Free State, where the people that have come in have been of different ages. So you've had 65-year-olds right down to 18-year-olds attend these programs. And they have learned from both of us in these programs, finding out that we lead the same way: heart, passion, compassion, servant leadership, and purposeful leadership. And that's what it's about. If a leader is worried about self-enrichment and self-empowerment and self-importance, you're never going to get the best out of your people. And what I've learned from Tata Pappie is that he's the most humble man you'll ever meet. His humility is so tangible almost, because everyone who comes into his being, into his surroundings, it could be the janitor or the CEO, he treats them with the same compassion and level of respect, and that's how it should be. A leader is someone not in the position of power, but in the position of changing the dynamics and changing the hearts and thinking of people in order to have to grow them and lead them.
True. Vikki, continuing with you, through Legacy Rising, I'm sure you've been able to connect with a lot of global leaders. If I were to ask you this, you have also interacted with many emerging entrepreneurs. Do you find any leadership gap that exists with these emerging entrepreneurs?
Yes, I find that leaders today, or the emerging entrepreneurs, are chasing money. Money is the goal. And it's, I said it to my group last week, where money should never be the passion and the goal. You should follow your passion and the money will follow. So if you are starting a business with the innate sense and the idea that you just want to make money, you're never going to be a good leader. And generally, if we look at South African terms, I think 80% of businesses fail within the first 6 months. So in terms of being if you are an emerging entrepreneur and you are a leadership, you have to have leadership skills. You need to worry about, what is your business? Who are you serving? Is it your passion? Is it right for you? Who are the people that you're bringing into your business? Who are you surrounding yourselves with? You are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourselves with. Are they the right people? Are they mentoring, or are you mentoring them? Are they adding value to you? And that's the only way we're going to bridge that gap of the past entrepreneurs and the current entrepreneurs.
Great. Mr. Pappie, I always vouch for this point. One has to be at the leadership level, have a great sense of, I would say, understanding and managing success and failure. As a leader, I believe that I'm sure you in person have also seen numerous success in your journey. At the same time, a lot of challenges or setbacks. So, as a leader, how do you manage success and how do you manage failure?
Uh, the most difficult part, Prof. Guru, that I must just share, that my family shares, is that I don't celebrate myself enough. I don't know how to. But
Now, is that a
That's
point
true.
that I
That's
take it
very
as
true.
advantage? Is that the plus point actually?
I think all of us always reach milestones, and I always say to people, even if you get to the 100-kilometer high on the Himalaya, it's a milestone, but it's an achievement. So to that extent, my life journey and celebrating successes has always been about understanding that about yourself, but more than anything else, understanding context and the journey. And that is why even, to your question earlier, whether entrepreneurship and political leadership, there is any difference. And I can just try and give you a sense of background on the complexity of Mangaung. Post 1994 democratic elections, high expectations of delivery, and now all of a sudden you have this new local government dispensation that integrates previously advantage, disadvantage. So creating a much more complex arrangement than you had earlier been there. And with that came in expectations. And with that coming the issue of where do you want actually to lead to? Where do we want the journey to take us? And as a result, having a transformational roadmap as part of ensuring that you keep your eye on the ball, but you are more vision oriented. And as a result, with that, there are certain milestones. I mean, our municipality came to be acclaimed for the most promising municipality in the Free State where I stay, because we were able to can galvanize all of Mangaun's people behind a common purpose. And we were able to can ensure that the constitutional imperatives are translated into actionable, tangible processes in the community around participation, around engagement of business, around ensuring that all of us share this compelling vision. And at the end of the day, we actually even carved a city development strategy that was common amongst all of us. And with that, even in terms of our branding strategy, the community said, we are a municipality that is aspiring to be the greatest, that fulfills the constitutional obligation. And we are a city on the move. That becomes our tagline. So with all of those things comes where, and particularly if you are a public leader, you can actually be intoxicated when people have these acclaims and where people reaffirm you as a leader. And Vikki is very generous. She is so good for my ego because she always tells me how great I am. So, and with that, sometimes it can come up where you begin to think out of yourself and where you're materialistic. But with me, it is about the impact that I make with people. It is about the compassion, but it is about the seeing the spark in other people's life of how my action touched them. And that is the ultimate prize for me. And as a result, celebrating moments and failures. And with failures, I always take them as opportunity to learn. And I say you can't be perfect, but you have got to keep on moving forward if you believe in what your purpose and your vision is. And all the obstacles that become just part of the process of enhancing the ability to get to your idea. They are not intended, or they should not be obstacles that make you stop from continuing. So any obstacle, any pain, I tell Vikki, I can take pain, I can take criticism, because for me, it's a reflection of how people think that are out there. But it has not taken away my innate ability to still believe in my story and my purpose. And with that, irrespective of all obstacles that come in my way, I continue to go ahead. And I think that is what leadership should be. And that is why our cities can thrive, our nation can thrive, if we have leadership that is more purpose-driven, visionary, and thinking about the rest of all of us.
During your message, I could also recollect my favorite quote, which says, "Don't take success to your head and failure to your heart." Oh, that's
Absolutely.
very important to, say sustained. Vikki, women empowerment has been something like a talk of the town in India for a very long time.
Right.
And I'm so very glad and happy to inform, you know, it has scaled up to its next level in India. You'll find a lot of successful entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs in India, because there's always there's a feeling that they come up with empathy and resilience. That's quite inbuilt in the women.
Mm.
How do this inculcate? I mean, how was this women empowerment thing in South Africa? I'm quite, excited to know this, because now having people like you in place, I'm
Mm.
sure you're seeing some transformation there from the women entrepreneur front.
Absolutely. You know, Pappie would tell you, we are so woman aligned and woman focused in our country at the moment. And just give you an example. So I attended an event on Saturday, sorry. It was a very posh event, black tie, so to speak. And it was our temple. So it was, they had their 150-year and celebrations. And so they called the leadership up, and they called all the trustees and people that have been involved in the temple. And I looked at this on the stage, and I said to my cousin sitting next to me, "It's too patriarchal for me." So it was just men. There wasn't a single woman on that stage being celebrated in terms of the 150-year celebrations of the temple. Now, I know there's so many women that are involved in that organization. And they had a Women's Day event in August where it was just women around the community who were invited, a very beautiful event. But it shouldn't be segregated in the sense that women are just celebrated on Women's Day. Now we have an entire event celebrating the entirety of the temple and its community, and it's just patriarchal. So I'm not a feminist. I believe in equality. And women, rightfully so, need to be empowered because they've been marginalized for centuries globally. And in South Africa, you'll find that there's an emergence of women entrepreneurs, women leaders. And then I asked the question, is South Africa right for a woman, just right for a woman president right now? So, those are the questions I posed last week. And in terms of South Africa, we have a lot of issues around gender-based violence and all of that. I'm sure you would have seen it. So last week was a whole movement for change and protesting against gender-based violence. And, it became such a national protest that our president, declared it a crisis. So in saying that, we have the violence and the issues, and then we have the empowerment. So we have to focus on developing young women to be strong and take the lead, and realize that they don't need to rely on a man, or they don't need to rely on anyone else but themselves to become leaders, to become entrepreneurs, business people, politicians, and even presidents of countries. So for me, our programs are very gender focused in terms of that. We have specific programs like Hire Her SA for women, and where we develop women to single moms, victims of GBV, just recent graduates, matriculants who are unable to get jobs in the mainstream, what we can place them in front-end positions in hospitality and retail and all of that. And from there, they can study and they can learn and they can develop and grow. So it is a passion for me, women empowerment. But once again, I'll say it, I'm not a feminist, but I'm very much pushing the women empowerment agenda. And South Africa is very focused on that. And I love that for South Africa. And I love that for India. I love that for India too.
Fantastic to know that, and truly, I would say South Africa has seen a unique transformation in the last 2 decades. Having officially been inducted to BRICS Nation in 2010, the journey has been stunning. And, I think South Africa very recently hosted the G20, and all the world leaders, yes, all the world leaders, including my Prime Minister, is in Johannesburg right now.
Yes.
I want to ask this question to Mr. Pappie. As I said in my opening remarks, India has able to bring out this entrepreneurial ecosystem in the big way in the last 2 decades, I would say. How is this entrepreneurial ecosystem or culture in South Africa? And how do you want the African youths to capitalize this?
I think, Professor Gura, I think it is imperative that nations begin to embrace the issue relating to, individual efforts in being included and participating in the broader things. You have talked about the G20. I think one of the bigger challenges is around how whatever progress that comes out, it's actually embraced and takes communities along, and they are included in whatever the impact of that is. And I think that is the bigger divide today around leadership-related transformational agenda and change agendas vis-a-vis how communities believe that they are included. So in relation to entrepreneurship, I think South Africa, for instance, has got this unique thing that because of the levels of past discriminatory practices, you find that there is a lot of opportunities that are there. But most of the local entrepreneurial people are oriented more towards survivalist, more than growth-oriented entrepreneurship. And as a result, you find an orientation towards entrepreneurship in terms of people, hawking, and all of those things. But South Africa is at the point where it needs high growth entrepreneurs, those who can have scale and impact magnificently on the scale by being also inclusive in terms of opportunities for community members. And India is a very big country, with a lot of opportunities. I always say we have got to be able to can ensure that the fundamentals of business, it's all about problem and a solution. And all of us, in terms of our communities, we have the ability to be talking about what problems that are there. But we need to be oriented towards what are the kind of solutions that can sustainably be able to can turn the needle towards a more inclusive economic growth and social justice. So in terms of India, I say grasp whatever opportunities that are there. Don't think about resource constraints, because good ideas, even if in the beginning you don't have ideas, they will thrive in a market where you fulfill a market need. So most of the people, I think if we can take that orientation or inclination, it would be possible that we can trigger entrepreneurial growth in India and in South Africa. But government must begin to think entrepreneurially also around how do they create conducive and enabling environment for ordinary people, because high-level entrepreneurs, sometimes the environment is much more conducive to them other than the ordinary people. And government must play that role of not just being a gatekeeper for people out of opportunities, but creating environments that make entrepreneurs to thrive, because it's much more easier for somebody to take 100 Rand and go and buy a pocket of potato to be able to can get something at the end of the day, to be able to can feed their family overnight, than to go and look out for a job. And out of that, they can then start to buy 2 bags, 3 bags, and whatever. because they are fulfilling an important need in the market and in the environment where they are. So I would want to believe that the governments must try, and BRICS can only thrive, and the new global order can only thrive if it's inclusive. And that means all efforts toward entrepreneurial growth and entrepreneurial stimulation and enabling those with the guts to think and to try. And again, South Africa shuns away from failure, and that is one of the other parts around entrepreneurship in our countries, that we tend not to celebrate effort, initiative, and trying. We tend to make people feel like, they are bad. Whereas entrepreneurship, it's about navigating all the failures, until you get somewhere. And most of societies that don't grow entrepreneurship, it's because they don't celebrate it. And I hope in India they can also begin to appreciate when somebody is trying something that is much better than somebody who doesn't try anything. Thank you very much.
Your message, while you spoke about entrepreneurship, I remember one of the quote from the Prime Minister of India. He said, "It's high time that you should transform yourself from being a job seekers to job creators." That's very important. I think that's the whole idea, and that's the whole vision that the entire country is working on, and including GIBS. That's the whole idea why we started a platform called IRE to nurture tomorrow's leaders. Well, Vikki and Mr. Pappie, we have good questions raised by the students as well. So before I take a couple of them, one question to Ms. Vikki. If you had given one piece of advice to the young leaders to build a legacy that would really last for very long, what would that be?
For me, it would be build a legacy of purpose, courage, and compassion. I lead in that way. A legacy writing essay is all about building leaders that are empathetic, resilient, and strong-minded, strong-willed, but able to understand their followers, their constituents. So I would want young leaders today to understand that leadership is not harsh, it is not dictatorial, it is not demanding, it is compassionate, it is resilient, it is empathetic, and it's full of love. And, Pappie likes to say that I praise him too much and tell him all these wonderful things, and I mean it. And, whenever I say this to him, I really do mean it, because that's how he leads. And when you do come to our country and you visit the Free State, you would see how much and what a big difference he's made in that constituency, from harsh leadership to compassionate servant leadership. And that's what it's about. I would want young people now to take the baton and to carry that compassionate servant leadership forward. Be courageous while doing it. Thank you.
If I have to ask the same question to Mr. Pappie, of your journey of leadership, what would be that, a very important tips or message that you would love to give to the budding entrepreneurs, the budding leaders, or to the audiences who are watching you?
I think, adding to what Vikki has said, which is quite the issue that we should really be emphasizing, and that's the issue related to authenticity. Because through being authentic as a leader and being vulnerable to be able to can indicate when you don't know, then you develop the humility of knowing that you can lead because you're authentic. And because authenticity doesn't go with perfection, it goes with being human. You are able to can take criticism right, or center. Because when that happens, you become a credible leader. So you can only build that credibility through trust, through authenticity, because those becomes the pillar through which people judge you. And even when things are not working out and you have been authentic and you have been truthful, it becomes easy for others to join the journey and believe in you. So it becomes a collective burden to carry forward. It doesn't become a leader's issue, a leader's problem. It becomes all of us issue. And that, I believe, is the issue that I would like to indicate.
I have some interesting questions, by the students who are watching you live with us. And I take the privilege to ask on their behalf. There's one question directly pointed to Miss Vikki. So, how do you maintain mental and emotional strength as a leader? It's an interesting question.
It is an interesting question. It's something that we kind of delved deep into last week. It's not easy doing so. The balance is not always easy. But if you take care of yourself first as a leader, you understand what your purpose is. As I said, if you are passionate and you are purposeful and you understand what your purpose is, and like Pappie says, authentic to your true self, it would be easier to manage your emotional and mental health and well-being, because that affects your physical health and well-being, your physical well-being. And being a leader is not always easy, because you are sort of, in a lot of ways, taking on the issues and the troubles of other people, and your energies just get displaced at times. So once you start looking after self, heart, body, mind, and soul, you will start being a more effective leader. And it could be various things, simple things like yoga can balance you. And are you all right, Guru? Are you tired? Simple
Sorry,
things
very well.
like no, it's all right. It's simple things like yoga or eating healthily. But first and foremost, understand what your vision is, understand what your purpose is, and figure out whether it's being driven by passion. And if it is, it makes you a natural born leader.
That's great. I have this very interesting question, but I would definitely love to have the answers from both of you.
Okay.
Okay. To you, Miss Vikki, first. Could you please share how you motivate underperforming team members and how you communicate expectations clearly within your team? I would like to personally apply this, so I would love to hear your views on this.
Sorry, you broke up there, Guru, the last part.
It's basically, how do you motivate your underperforming team members and how you communicate expectations clearly with your team?
Okay. So understand, motivating underperforming team leaders is a journey. It's not something that's done overnight. So we had a student last week. When she attended the session, she was sitting right in the corner with a beanie on, and halfway through the session, she fell asleep. And when I asked a question, and I asked it directly to her, she got up and she was stunned. She didn't know what was going on. And I spoke to her and, firstly understand, is it something that you want to do? Is it something that do you want to be here? Do you want to learn this? Is it educating you? Are you passionate about it? If you are, you will be here tomorrow. If you aren't, you won't show up. We did some breathing exercises, etc. She went off. The next day, I was pretty much certain she wasn't going to show. Lo and behold, she pitched up bright and early, no beanie, properly dressed, very clear focused, did the entire week. On Friday, she was the one who did the presentation for her entire team, PowerPoint and speaking on behalf of the team. And during the week, all I did was motivate her and show her what her strengths were, identify her strengths, and show her and identify her passions. And it reinforce affirmative leadership, reinforce encouragement, reinforce, like Pappie says, authenticity and understanding of who you are. And then it makes it easier for you to start performing again. Identifying clear objectives and how do I go about that? I'm very direct. I'm very black and white. I will list the objectives and I'll help you achieve it together. As a leader, I'm here to help you. I'm a servant leader. I'm here to assist you to achieve those targets and objectives. I'm not going to let you run on your own and expect, like a teacher, mark an exam paper, because in our sessions, we are here to help you grow as a person and as a leader.
Fantastic. Point very well taken. Is Mr. Pappie available? Can I see you? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the same question to you, Mr. Pappie, because you come up with a lot of experience, and I'm sure in your journey you have seen a lot of colleagues, a lot of fellow colleagues or the workers usually having uh, underperforming or the volatility in their performances, which will have a direct and indirect implications on the business enterprises. How do you often deal with them, keeping in mind the essential skills of people management?
I think, people get inspired and motivated, and
Right.
most of the time, when they are inspired, it is possible to get the best out of them. So part of non-performance or underperformance, just to add on to what Vikki has indicated, which is quite right, is the issue relating to, how do you in the first place clarify what that performance could possibly be? I always say to people, if we go north, and in as much as you go around the mountains, your GPS would always indicate true north, and you'd know the destination where you're going. So some of the detours and whatever sometimes might not actually be underperformance or whatever. It might sometimes be just going around some obstacle, which might be personal, which might be organizational. So I always try and ensure that I have the sense that the member or the employee is aligned to where we're going, because and to reinforce even and inspire them through reinforcing some of the successes that they might have. Because once you are able to can point out that we are going there, you were there, and it is possible to correct this, it becomes easier to motivate people to go forward. So I don't concentrate more. I think more like a steward towards a bigger impact and a bigger goal. And as a result, small detours, I try and make you to still believe that we are still aligned in terms of the bigger thing. And it becomes easier to get somebody energized. Whereas, reprimand and whatever sometimes kinds of make people to retract. Whereas encouragement that they can still do more and better becomes an easier motivate for me. And that is how I try and particularly during this time where, there are big pressures on employees, on leaders, on everybody. So we have got to also remember the human side of things, and that humans are volunteers to be part of your organization. And they become an essential part that fuels how you reach your goals. So to that extent, that would be what I say about how to motivate people and underperformers. It is to possibly remind them about what they achieved last week and get them to understand why it is important with this to go forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Point well taken. I would continue with you with this question. Um, what financial mistakes do you think entrepreneurs commonly make?
I think entrepreneurs might make the mistake of not understanding the issue relating to how you nurture ideas through the different stages and for growth. And as a result, entrepreneurs, I find, and I deal with one entrepreneur at the moment that I shared a story with Vikki, who is in the manufacturing of smart devices. And in his mind, it is inevitable that as a startup should suffer. Even when you have put in resources and funds, they don't apply and implement the funds and be more focused on milestones that are supposed to take them somewhere. It is inevitable that startups should need more fuel than is necessary, whereas it's smart deployment of the resources that sometimes become part of the journey. So the mindset of an entrepreneur should be, I know that I need to get to something that is of value, and I need to get there with as efficient as possible in terms of resource application, because on the other side, I can harvest more. Whereas if you front load with wastage in terms of finances, with forgetting what your project is all about, you get piling a lot of resources. And that is why then you have entrepreneurs finding it difficult to grow and to fund growth because of the fact that they started well by understanding that resources are scarce and I need to achieve more. But once the resources start to flow, then they forget prudent application of resources. And I think that's, for me, is one of the bigger challenges why entrepreneurs tends to fail, which is inevitable because they are trying new things and new innovative ways. But then you have got to be smart with understanding that it takes resources to get your ideas to manifest into marketable products.
Yes, point very well taken. There's one question directly pointed to Ms. Vikki, and I'm sure you're the right one to answer this. Ma'am, please tell me, what advice would you give to Indian students aspiring to global roles?
Take the bull by the horns. So, as a South African of Indian origin, I didn't let, in South Africa, I'm a woman of color, right? Globally, I'm a woman of color. And then I am a woman on top of that. So there's lots of challenges and bias around used to be in the past. It's still there, it still lingers there. And I wanted to move to Ireland very many years ago. I found Irish politics very aligned to South African politics. And I just loved the whole idea of Michael Collins after reading a book on him. So I decided to move. And when I wanted to move back in 2011, it was the global recession. So I went to Ireland, stayed 6 weeks between the UK and Ireland, but realized that there were no jobs for me at the time. And came back to South Africa, did whatever I needed to do here. And out of the blue, one day, I got a call from the CEO of the second largest recruitment company in Ireland, David Block. And I had sent my CV, I think sometime in 2014. He called me in 2015. How it landed on his desk, because I put it out on Irish Jobs, I wouldn't know. And then began this whole courtship, recruitment courtship between us. In 2018, I decided to take the plunge and contacted him again, went up to Ireland, didn't meet him at the time, but just went around Ireland again, figuring out the new Ireland, came back. We had a telephonic interview. After 2 interviews, 2 weeks, they offered me the job and provided the entire relocation costs, including the work permit. And I was on a green card, a 2-year critical skills work permit. So as an Indian woman or an Indian national or Indians around the world, we are a very resilient bunch and we're very forward thinking. And I would like to think, we're not aggressive, but we are go-getters. And if you look at America's pretty much, in terms of technology, built on the backs and brains of Indians. So if you want to go out there and you want to apply for a job overseas, do it. Don't let anything hinder you. Don't let anything stop you, because you will do it. And if it's meant for you, it will come. Build it and he will come, as the line goes in the movie Field of Dreams. And I've met a lot of Indians in my journey overseas. I met Vishal Chinchura, who's done your HR conclave a couple of weeks ago, I think about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So Vishal was my client while I was in Ireland. So I've seen Indian nationals making waves globally. So do it, just take the plunge.
Fantastic. I will take 2 more questions. This one question, I feel Mr. Pappie is the right one to answer, considering his experience in the leadership. How do you build leadership confidence as a beginner? It's a very interesting question.
Yeah, I think the part that always is there, do you get the right heart, and how do you unlock that heart? And I think that is where it starts. It's not about technical capabilities, whatever. It is about how people define meaning in their life and the purpose for their life. And with that, it becomes easier for you to be able to can enlist people into higher performance and higher impact. And I strongly believe in that once you connect with somebody's aspirations, once you connect with somebody and give somebody a greater meaning in life and a greater purpose, they begin to take the step forward to say, I want to be part of that journey. So from a leadership point of view, that is always what I say. And actually, Vikki did a training with some of the people that I've been working for almost 3-4 years with them. I could not get that sense of the spark in their eyes. But when I went to one of her training towards the end, these people were new people, the same people that I knew, but they were touched in a different way in terms of making them to believe in themselves. And I think that is the part that most of the time it's a missing link. It's about tasks, but it's not about purpose. And once you give me a task that has got no sense of how it fulfills a particular purpose, it becomes very, very difficult. And I would like to indicate this example. Many years after I left the municipality and I was working somewhere in town, a lady just approached me and said, Ntate Mokoena, I want to talk to you. I used to work at the municipality. I did not have a big position. I was just a clerk. But every morning I woke up to go to work because I knew and I felt I was part of a bigger thing that was happening in the municipality. I'm grateful that you are there, and please can you come back and help us because we have regressed from where we are. So, I mean, I didn't know the lady. She says she didn't have a big position, whatever, but she had meaning and purpose to wake up and go to work. And that is self-leadership. It starts there. And that's the only way that I can possibly try and respond to this kind of question. Trying to always connect with somebody has got something that they want and a greater purpose and a belief. And I think once we get there, it's able to enlist them into something.
Absolutely. Linking to what you said, there is an interesting question here. If, as an individual, I have a sense of what do you call fear of failure all the time, can I still continue to be a leader? Because there is something called fear of failure always haunting me.
Absolutely, because you remember that fear of failure is in the mind. So it means that mindset, if we are able to can ensure that we give you something else that can make you believe that you have the innate ability to achieve and you have this self-belief, it is possible to become a leader. So, and a mindset is very easy most of the time to change, than a bad attitude, a heart. If we said, I have this evil, disastrous heart and whatever, it becomes very easy, very difficult to get somebody out of there. But with the mind, it becomes easier to inspire and give somebody to say, you have this innate ability, and where can we start with you in terms of small step? And I think Vikki is the one who is a lot more into that more than I am. But I really believe we have got to make people to believe in the art of possibility and that we can. And yes, you can. Once you start to believe that, because that fear, it's in the mind. It is not about your ability. It is not that you have tried, because with that fear, you never tried anything. You fear to step forward. Prove that you can by taking the first step forward. That's the only way.
Absolutely.
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 Absolutely agree with you.
Nelson Mandela says it always seems impossible until it's done. So do it. And it becomes I'm possible.
Lovely. We are at the fag end of the wonderful session, I would say. I would take uh, 30 seconds final message from both of you to the audience watching you and the one who is aspiring to become an entrepreneur of tomorrow, one who has been aspiring to become a leader of tomorrow. Mr. Pappie, your final message to my audience.
Absolutely, you can. Just clarify your purpose and get your heart into it, because it becomes part of inspiring, and it becomes your resilient core once you start to believe and you have a greater purpose, because that is the true north of any human being. A sense of impact, a sense of value, and a sense of doing something meaningful. It will get there, whether private, public, or in social enterprises.
Lovely. Bang on. Miss Vikki.
Follow your passion, follow your heart, do what you are good at. And if you don't know, say yes and learn about it. Learn to do it, like Richard Branson says. Leaders are not necessarily always born. They can be developed. And I found that in my sessions. I found a follower can become a leader. And there's a leader in every single one of us. We lead in our homes, we lead in our schools, we lead in our communities. A mother leading a child, a father leading a household, they are all leaders. So if you can do that, you can lead. And have that sense of courage, resilience, adding on to what Tate Pappie says, authenticity and purpose, and you'll be a true great leader. Do it with love, do it with passion, and do it as servant leadership. Never worrying about yourself always, and the gain is not for yourself, it's for the greater good.
Fantastic. I mean, that's a perfect message. I would say the agenda or the impact, the end result that we envisioned from this particular session, it truly fulfilled it. Hats off to you both for your incredible journey. But you know what? This is definitely not the end. I would say this is the beginning. And I certainly look forward to many more interactions in the coming days. I would want the larger audience of mine to listen to you in person. So I mean, it's not very long that I invite you both to this beautiful place once. And I think we can have a great discussions, not just involving the students, but also with my fellow faculties. We're also playing an incredible role in nurturing tomorrow's leaders. Awesome session, fantastic interaction. I would thank both of you for your precious time on behalf of all the students out there, all the audiences out here, the faculties, and from the GIBS management team. Extending my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Pappie and Ms. Vikki Moonsamy for this wonderful interaction. And for those, I'm sorry for not taking some of the questions. The paucity of time, Vikki, I've been flooded with a lot of questions. That really shows that you have, both of you have touched them on the topic, and no doubt, they have come up with so much of questions. But I would request all the audiences, this particular interaction will be uploaded in our official YouTube channel very soon. You can definitely watch that interaction once again. All right. So thanking all the audience as well for being a fantastic crowd, and all for those wonderful questions out there. You deserve special appreciation for that. Take a bow. And yes, please, if you're not a part of GIBS, not yet subscribed us, do like us on our social media platforms, GIBS IRE Talks, GIBS Business School. And my personal request to all of you, please do follow Miss Vikki and Mr. Pappie in their social media platform as well. Their work is incredible. Lots and lots of learning and takeaways for all of us. So thank you for the moment. I'm sure we're going to have many more interaction in the coming days. I look forward to in the coming days as well. This is Professor Guru Prasad signing off, and thank you everyone for being a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Guru. Thank you for having us.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.